Hi, this is episode 5 of my guitar porn series. As always, if you're not into guitar geekery, scroll on. There's a lot of content on the internet that you might find more interesting than this. But this is one of those grandfather's axe kind of stories. You know that story about how this is my grandfather's antique axe. It's a family heirloom, and we'd never get rid of it because it means so much to us. The axe is it's been used for everything for a century, and the head's been changed twice, and it's so worn out, and the handle's been changed 5 or 6 times. But it's my grandfather's axe, and we'd never sell it. Anyway, this is one of those kinds of things. This is my 1973 Fender Precision bass, sort of. This came to me under some kind of interesting circumstances. About 1983, Zazu Pitts was starting up, and Steve Ashman's wife came to me and asked me if I would install a set of pickups in his bass for his birthday. And I said sure, and she gave me this bass, or what was this bass at the time, and it had a very crudely made walnut body on it. It wasn't even a Fender-shaped body. It was kind of a, well, anyway, it wasn't this body. And so I installed the pickups, and then about a year later or so, we were on the road, and I think we were in a club on Long Island, and the band had gotten a little loose, a little loopy after being on the road for a little while, and we had kind of a messy night, and Steve decided to smash this bass over his amplifier at the end of the night. I mean, that was just good music, and but that was it for this bass. And a few years later, the band breaks up, and we go our separate ways with Steve. And a few years after that, the drummer tells me that Steve had given him the wreckage of this instrument in a box. Basically, it was a box full of parts at that point. The body had been, the body was destroyed. That was the main thing. He used the neck as a handle to destroy the body. And so I said, sure, give me the parts. So I took the parts and sat around in my studio for maybe a year or two, and then I just decided I'd put it back together again. And I went over to this place called Paul C. He had a parts business in this tower behind, this brick tower, cool old building right behind Slim's. And I bought this body. At the time, the body was this color. It's sort of a pearlescent pink, very 80s. And it was one of those 80s style bodies that had no pick guard. Everything was mounted right in the front of it, and the controls mounted in through the back. And so I assembled it, and this was post Roy Loney, and so I used this bass pretty much as my go-to 4-string fretted bass. Since then, back about 1999, I put on this the pickguard because like my other guitars and a lot of these 80s guitars that didn't have pickguards on them, the paint, as bad as it looks out here, it looks really bad under here. So I stuck that on there. This is, by the way, the jack is on the side and the way this is made. That's a badass bridge, and it's you know, I know it's pretty trash looking, and but it's honest trash. I won't go through all the dings and details on it, but this one is a classic cymbal stand falling over into the guitar while it's on its stand. Thank you, John Mormon, for that one. And let's see. And I use this is a set of round wounds that I put on this bass in 1983. You know, they say, you know, don't change your strings on a bass. Well, these are round wounds that sound like flat wounds, but they are as painful to play as round wounds are. Did I say that right? These are round wounds that sound like flat wounds because they're so worn out, but they are still as painful as round wounds to play. And would I have it any other way? Well, maybe I would. I've been thinking about changing these strings over to straight flat wounds for about maybe 20 years. But, you know, there's no sense rushing into anything. I may get around to it yet. Anyway, here it is, my grandfather's axe. My 1973 Fender Precision bass.